Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 971. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Doctor Who has returned to San Diego Comic-Con. Kids, this is forming the basis of this entire episode of Radio Free Skaro. I remember like 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I thought, wow, I must just cancel this hotel room. No need for me to go down there. It was, to be fair, about $3,000 worth. And I hadn't even booked my flight yet. So I was thinking, I will take that $3,000. Thank you very much, because I don't know if I'm in the position to spend $3,000. And then, of course, they announced stuff and... You know, and then last week we were sort of like putting the kibosh on that that article. Who wrote that article now? Even as Deadline, that's what it was, about Doctor Who being, doesn't he might cancel it? And then you look at like this huge, the panel obviously at Hall H, which we'll talk about, the interactive display with the TARDIS set and everything else. Like it feels like, okay, maybe Disney's still got some skin into the game here. Because,
well, just to be a negative Nelly, as all Doctor Who fans are.
And you especially, Warren.
When you're, not me especially. Actually, I'm not as bad as some. But if you're going by corporate logic, right. You got a budget, you got to spend it. So if they had the budget to do this, no matter how the ratings turned out to be, they had to spend it.
That's true, actually. Yeah. So okay, well, I guess Doctor Who's canceled then. So that's
and
Warren
just to make it worse,
all right.
You've got 4,000 people at Hall H. What about the Republican National Convention? Just because a bunch of yahoos like the thing doesn't mean it's good. I'm not saying anything. I'm not in any way comparing the two. Really, I'm just saying there is a bubble at work in both those instances.
That's true. How many people were there to see the Boys panel and the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power panel, or were they just there to wait for the Doctor Who panel, or were they there just to wait for whatever panel came after the Doctor Who panel? I completely switched off my feet after that. I don't care about anything else the Doctor Who.
No, I mean, the Boys is popular as far as I know. I couldn't tell you if the Rings of Power is, but
yeah, I don't know. Amazon would like it to be popular, but
maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, later on this episode, in fact, later on in this recording, I'm going to chat with Heather and Stacy from Free the Squee, who are both down this Free the Squee's a new podcast, newish podcast, I should say, on the Incomparable Network. And they're both in San Diego, and they were at the Hall H panel, and I think they're going to be other stuff. There, right as we record this right now on Saturday morning, I think there's the Doctor Who podcast recording with Gatwa, Gibson and Davies on there, so we'll hear from them about that later on in this episode. But Chris, you were busy at work all day, so you probably didn't see all the madness that was going on when it came to not only the Hall H stuff, but the opening ceremonies to the Paris Olympics. You didn't see that.
I am aware that Celine Dion performed, and that is all I know.
It was very theatrical.
It was amazing.
Very well. Like, I'm amazed they pulled it off without a hitch, because there was a lot to it.
There's a lot of rain. Oh my God, the rain kept
for two completely different reasons. I still think nothing can top either London or Beijing.
Well,
for opening ceremonies, but
this is nothing like them. They didn't even have it at a stadium. Which I think was a stroke of genius.
It was cool.
Well, I saw like was it the flag parade? I guess like which was on boats down the Seine.
On boats.
Mm-hmm. That was one part of it. Yeah.
And then they had like little periodic bits of like performances and stuff. And there's like this metal band which had like the French Revolution and there's
Gojira.
Like Gojira. Were they in Eurovision, Chris? Is that why you know them so well?
No, I've just seen a lot of links to them having performed.
Oh,
And they
okay.
had some religious iconography, which they made into drag, and which the right is, I wouldn't say justifiably angry, because to hell with them, but they are very angry about it. So mission accomplished, France. Thank you very much.
I gotta admit, it's more based in Greek mythology than it was the Last Supper, despite what people were griping about. So the Greek god Dionysus, which I
Dionysus.
think Dionysus.
It was all very French. Let's put it that way.
It was very French. It was very awesome, and I have to admit, though, my small Doctor Who mind, when they lit the torch in an amazing way, instead of handing it off, they handed it off and they all walked together and then lit the torch, and then it rose up like a balloon. And me, I was going, "This is like the climax to the next Doctor, the 2008 Doctor Who Christmas special."
Good God, man. What was I saying about bubbles?
Where's the Cyber King? Come to blow it up. Where's that, France? Didn't happen.
I mean, they did invent the golden
I
age
use that
balloon,
voice either.
so.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why. They invented the balloon, or if you will, the TARDIS. Because of course,
Okay,
that's
yes.
the next
Sure.
Doctor. Honestly, at that point, a giant Cyber King walking through would have seemed pretty much normal, given the.
It would have been a little low key, given all the rest of the nonsense that
Yes,
they're
that's
throwing. I love
true.
the giant Terry Gilliam heads that they had, like the
yeah.
animation heads that they had in the sin.
Yeah.
Now my brain's just trying to remember what the hell TARDIS stood for, and that is
I know, me too.
Tethered aerial.
Air-
and I forgot the rest.
Yeah, I can't
Take
remember.
anything away from the opening ceremonies of the 2024 Olympics, let it be that, an acronym from a Christmas special that wasn't all that great. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, it
From
was
15 and a half years ago.
Yeah, it was literally happening at the same time. I was watching that and what Kevin Scribble Script on Twitter and Frida Squee on Twitter were both sort of live tweeting it, and the SFX were there, and Nerdist a little bit, I think, too. So my function, basically, saving myself $3,000 or more, was basically just to hit retweet on people who were actually there. You know,
Kevin is a very funny person.
he is. I don't think I met him properly until last year at Galley, actually, and even then, I only
he and
talked
Kat have
to
been
him.
friends for a few years. So
Nice.
I've met him at Galley a couple or 3 years running now.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He's doing good work. Both him and Heather or Stacy. I don't know who's manning the Free the Squee feed. So, but anyway, thank you both for that, for providing us the information of Doctor Who at Holiday. I for some reason it didn't dawn on me that of course this is Ncuti Gatwa's first Comic-Con. Because last
Sex
year,
Education had a fan base, but it wouldn't be a Comic-Con thing.
no, and last year, of course, was all the strikes were happening and no one went to Comic-Con. So this was sort of billed as like
right.
the first. This is like the proper return of Comic-Con in 5 years. Let's face it, because of
And
the
presumably
COVID
Millie
thing.
Gibson's first too, right?
Oh yeah, obviously. Well, she was like 6 during the last Doctor Who panel.
I suppose, yeah.
You know, so
She was 1 or 2 when Tennant kissed Barrowman.
no, she was not. That was 2009. Is when that happened.
What year is it now?
I
So
refuse to do the
she
math.
was like 4.
I refuse to do the math.
She was like 4.
She was 4.
Mostly because of my part of that part of my brain is dust now. So
Yeah, I know. But it was cool seeing all the energy, and they had like a big screen along the side of the room as well, where they would show like graphics and stuff, and they made it snow there briefly or something like that. Whenever they did a thing, and it seemed to be quite a cool event. Having never been in Hall H,
I have. It's pretty overwhelming.
yeah, I know. It looked perhaps even more overwhelming now that they have a big giant screen on the side there, but. It looks pretty cool. Looks like people enjoyed themselves. They a couple things that were announced were brace yourselves, a spin-off.
I can't believe it.
A Doctor Who spin-off has been announced, kids.
So
It
has. Retrospectively,
all right.
So we've been talking about this for weeks, months, whatever. Retrospectively, it makes so much sense that it gets announced at Comic-Con, and I never put 2 and 2 like back when we thought Doctor Who was not going to have a presence. I never put 2 and 2 together that maybe they will have a presence, and maybe this is where they're going to, announce it, because they went into pre-production in March or something.
Yeah.
But so it makes perfect sense. We've got the
Does.
announcement here, and I apologize for cutting off. So perhaps you'd like to announce the title of it that is so secret.
Yes, that's right. The brace yourselves. Here's the news. There's a new Doctor Who spin-off. It's called The War Between the Land and the Sea.
Huh?
And it's 5 parts, and it features the Sea Devils. So there you go.
I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
So I've seen the odd clip here and there of that. Well, the BBC, the Doctor Who account is posted on like Instagram, whatever.
Right.
I loved when RTD was introducing the spinoff. He's like, and it's featuring the Sea Devils. Oh, it's just a monster from 1972, and just moves on.
You're right.
Yeah, that's Warriors of Deep Erasure is what that is.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it. We probably should. Well, we shouldn't risk. But listen, before we talk about it, kudos to the Mirror all those months ago for like 100% nailing this. Just like the length of the series, the name of the series. It was featuring Sea Devils. The Unit thing had sort of been rumored because everyone just assumes Unit's going to be involved in a spin-off. I didn't think they would be, but they are. So that's
the only thing they didn't get, and it's not that they didn't get it, it's they just didn't try, I guess. Anyway, it was the casting.
The casting, yeah.
There was that rumor that started on Gallifrey Base, was it? About Freema Agyeman returning for it.
Sure.
Which, total bunk.
Wish casting.
I always figured it was total bunk anyway. But Tish, Martha's sister, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, is...
Well, and not as.
Before Gugu and
not as.
And Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies cast far and wide for new talented. No, he just went as far as his.
As soon as I heard
went down his contact list.
As soon as I heard Russell Tovey, I'm like, really? We're doing this again? Nothing against Russell Tovey.
No.
RTD's obsession with this man is well known.
It is quite something. Russell Tovey and Gugu Mbatha-Raw are both playing different characters. There's no midshipman frame, or I can't remember, Tish Jones, Martha's sister. They are playing entirely new characters. That wasn't
she's
really
also a way bigger deal now.
Yeah,
I mean,
that wasn't mentioned in the press conference, but Russell T Davies mentioned this on stage. Press release. I mean, so that's why I wanted to make because they didn't.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess it is important that he make that distinction because we have the return of Kate Stewart and Ibrahim.
Yeah, Alexander Deviant.
From units
which explains their love story at the end of whatchamacallit.
It's possible.
Death,
There could be exploration of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, it appears to be Unit versus the Sea Devils, basically.
Which means it's current day, as opposed to, so that means they have to build up to the Merca being created. This is important. It has to be a saga of Merca creation.
I have always sort of retconned that the giant, for those that actually watched Legend of the Sea Devils the second time, there you might remember there's a big giant beast in the sea, and I always just reasoned that was the Merca, even though they didn't say it was the Merca. That was the Merca. We've had the Merca in Doctor Who, you just don't know it. Just like we've seen Canada in Doctor Who, in the background of Nikola Tesla's episode. You just don't know it. So that's the thing. Anyway, this is the series that's going to be... It's weird they didn't have like even a graphic or... I guess it wouldn't have promo image yet because it's they're shooting in September, but they basically just had like 4 generic casting headshots essentially as the official release.
Yeah. I want the graphic just to be the bicep emoji and then the wave emoji, and that's it. That's all the work they put into it.
That's it. Yeah, just emojis.
Oh wait, I completely forgot that she was in Loki.
Apparently, she was in Loki. She's been in lots
quite good
of
in
stuff.
Loki. Yeah,
she's been in lots of stuff. Yeah. I haven't seen Loki. Although,
like I said, she's a way bigger deal now than she was when she was Tish Jones. So
yeah, launching careers in TV. That's what Doctor Who does best. So kudos to her for slumming it by coming back to the Doctor Who universe.
I'm not lying. I thought about that. I'm like, she could be doing more for more money, just like Karen and Gillan and Douglas is canceled. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, well,
still haven't finished that. I've watched the first 2, but not the last 2.
Haven't watched any of it.
No, I don't think it's available in North America.
Well, then I couldn't possibly click on my
VPN. You couldn't. How could you find it? You couldn't find it. So.
Well, it's on ITVX as well, but I was
completely befuddled by that.
I'm not sure if that's subscription based or what. I don't know.
No idea.
If I can't get my button gear watch the rest of Fallout, which I clearly can't, then I probably can't.
And it's right there for you. It's right there for
exactly.
you. You can't see it. So, Anyway, that was announced at the panel, so that's exciting news. That, as we said, it will air on Disney. It'll drop on Disney Plus as well. That was also mentioned in the press release and everything. So this isn't just a BBC thing. It's actually going to be on Disney Plus. They never gave a date, even a year. So my guess is going to be post season 2. It's probably be in the fall of 2025 is what my immediate guess would be, just based on
summer or fall, bridge the gap. Especially like as the thing says, they start filming next month, and given what Bad Wolf has done with Doctor Who, like 2 years in the can before. Yeah, the second episode was shot
right,
or whatever.
Although
I can definitely see a delay of a year-ish.
Yeah, although really in retrospect, it's more like we have Disney money for this amount of time. Let's use it right now.
Well, that's my question. Is Disney money involved in this one as well, or not?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it is, because it's on Disney Plus.
Absolutely,
it's on Disney Plus. It's all part of the same deal. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So, which is also encouraging. I just want to say it's just also encouraging because they quickly made the first 2 seasons of Doctor Who proper in one fell swoop, basically, to capitalize on the Disney budget. While they're still making that with Disney budget, and it hasn't even shot yet. So that's a good sign, is what I want to lead with. Anyway, Chris, you were saying.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, I wonder if the War Between the Land and the Sea was part of the original deal, or if it was an add-on, or RTD is like, hey, I want to do this. Can we have some extra money for it? Or Disney's like, you can have this much money, and RTD is like, oh, we can spend this much on Doctor Who and this much on spin-offs.
They have money left over after they budget everything on Doctor Who.
Budget surplus.
We could just hack the budget from our songwriting department, because we're planning. Apparently next year there's going to be songs, not a musical. He was very quick to say not a musical episode, but there's a whole episode that has a bunch of songs in it in season 2.
Great, wonderful.
Brace yourselves. Yeah. If you enjoyed the song, if you enjoyed the songs from the Church on Ruby Road, and there's always a twist at the end. Well,
I sure didn't.
Well, let me tell you,
there's lots of Doctor Who stories with lots of songs in them, like The Chase, or but it's not the cast singing.
No,
it's a degree of irritation, and my degree goes up higher the more musically it is.
Yeah, are the songs in The Chase? I don't think there.
There's the Beatles, if nothing else.
Well, the only good song is the one of the Gunfighters. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, listen. As time goes on, we're fondly remembering. Yeah, we're fondly remembering the Ballad of the Last Chance Saloon.
Well, this wee part, I think we're gonna have to.
I kind of like.
I think we're gonna have to define
goofy nonsense.
What or who we include.
That's true, because this is
like,
definitely.
Are we talking about reapportionment, or are we talking about
just
classic Krusty?
Just learn war.
Is there a problem with labor in America?
Throwing a bone to war in there. I obviously this is Delta and the Bannerman Erasure, the greatest musical episode in Doctor Who history.
Oh, that's why I hate it, and not all the other reasons.
War Between the Land and the Sea, not a musical.
Love is the future.
Love is the future. Love is the answer.
Or love is the answer. Yeah, sorry. Here's the future. Love is the answer.
My question that came up when we were talking about when this comes out is, did Torchwood run at the same time? It was between Doctor Who's, right?
It was.
Not that that's relevant to this. I was just curious.
No, I think it was always in the autumn, wasn't it? It was always October on BBC 2 or 3 or whatever it was. And Sarah Jane started. They had Invasion of the Bane was New Year's Day.
That was the New Year's Day.
I don't think they ever overlapped, although I could be wrong about that. I don't remember. It's too long ago. So Google it. There's your answer.
I could figure this out on my own, I suppose.
Exactly. But I don't. But in this day and age, you certainly wouldn't. Like I remember when Star Trek was doing Discovery, and then they had the delay. Like they had to put like a month gap in their season because they weren't done it, and then that butted up right against the first 2 episodes of like Picard, and they were dropping like the last 2 episodes of Discovery at the same time. It was like, it was ridiculous. So I don't think it's good. They're going to get anywhere close to that. So
wasn't there something else happening as well, like Lower Decks or some such also at the same time?
Probably.
Think so?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. If there's
Are you telling me Paramount isn't a tightly run ship and is a little off kilter from time to time? I can't believe it.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? I don't know why they ever went up for sale, but anyway, the panel was great. We'll hear more about it from Heather and Stacey later on in this episode. But also announced, or at least shown at that panel, was an introduction from Nicola Coughlan, who was in the Christmas special joy to the world. So they had a little bit of her introducing it, and then had a preview clip. My guess is it's the pre-title sequence.
I guarantee it is
of this episode in question, and it was Moffat, baby. Stephen Moffat is back.
Moffat.
Oh yeah,
with Ncuti Gatwa bouncing from room to room in different times, trying to get a ham and sandwich and I don't know what else.
Ham and cheese toasty and a pumpkin latte.
Latte.
when the old guy says to his wife, "Oh, I remember going to that neighborhood," and she's like, "Well, there are women involved too." I'm like, "Yeah, this is pretty Moffat right now."
Yeah, I reckon. So I don't follow the set reports that often, but for about 2 hours on whatever day it was that they recorded that, the guy standing out on the balcony. In the middle of the day, by the way, it's amazing to see the location shot of that in the distance to what it looks like on screen. For a brief moment, people thought that was Patrick Stewart on the balcony.
He did look a little bit like him, I have to say.
Yeah, old bald British guy is
old bald posh British guy.
At first glance, obviously not, but at first glance,
was not. But anyway, it was an amusing little intro, and hey, it had Ncuti Gatwa in his proper quote unquote Doctor Who outfit. So that seems to be the iconic outfit, so to speak, because he's worn it in 3 different episodes now. So there.
Maybe it's just his Christmas outfit.
Yeah, could be.
And having Nicola Coughlan playing the titular Joy, I mean, that's a very Moffat-y
true
thing as well.
Although we have a friend named Joy, so it doesn't feel this for some reason. This name doesn't seem as out of the blue as like an Amy Pond or a Ruby Sunday or some other
melody song or whatever the hell.
Yeah, exactly. So like I can believe is what I mean to say. But anyway, there's a Silurian in there. Looks like Jonathan Aris or Ben Aris. I can't remember which one is which. One is the father, one is the son. One was in Invasion of the Dinosaurs. The other was in Sherlock. I always spot him everywhere now, and he was in the
so with the little hotel manager badge on.
Silurian makeup there, which is kind of fun. So this is what we have to look forward to in the Christmas season. It's gonna be Christmas Day, but
it's set up for Land of the Sea because the Silurians are mad.
Well, maybe that was it. Well, the Russell T Davies on the panel said that we've wrecked the ocean. So Doctor Who is going woke. I'm afraid, everyone. This for the first time ever.
God.
It's going to be responding to real world trauma.
It's never happened Barry Letts before. Malcolm Hulk. Oops, I'm going to be coughing.
Yeah,
I'm very glad this is a presumably one-off 5-episode limited thing,
right?
Spin-off, not main show, because just the amount of crap that people are going to spew about this,
all right,
is going to be obscene enough without it being the main show.
I mean, that's going to happen anyway. It's something that is entertainment in the year 2024. So you're going to get dumb reactions by morons. So
all that lovely clickbait that's going to manifest or appear in time.
Should also say too, we didn't mention it. It's co-written by Russell T Davies and Pete McTighe.
Yes.
Are writing all the episodes. Dylan Holmes Williams, of course, is directing it as we reported, as we broke the news a few weeks ago. So that's all part of the thing too. What as I read this, okay, it's Unit versus the Sea Devils. It's like I am curious to see how they're going to basically retell the Sea Devils,
with theremins. That's how, and
the Silurians, because Malcolm Hulk kind of like simultaneously, told the perfect Silurian story and then doomed the rest to failure because what do you do? Because it's a perfect way of doing it. Like technically the Silurians are in the right here because the humans are ruining the world and everything, and that whole dilemma sort of plays out right to the very end of Doctor Who and the Silurians, and to a lesser extent in the Sea Devils. And then Warriors the Deep, there had to be another way like that's, and then even in the Chibnall two-parter in the Matt Smith era, that's sort of like that same theme has sort of been playing out the entire time. How are they going to play that in this spin-off without it just being a repeat?
Don't expect it not to be a repeat.
No. There was enough crossover in this Chibnall two-parter in Series 5 with the original that. Like I could see them wanting to kind of do a retelling of the origin story, as it were, but the the existence of the Sea Devils at the end of Whitaker's run.
Right.
I mean, how much does that skew things? Because you can you still go back to the start? I mean, I guess you can, but is it worthwhile?
They got it in some way because most people didn't really watch Legend of the Sea Devils. Not enough for it not to happen again for them. They got to put some sort of explanation because somebody's going to wander into this and go, "Who the hell are the Sea Devils?" and not know any of that. So.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, is it? I don't know. Like, can you go full blown origin story, or is it just a cold open thing, or is it just a casual mention? Or
it's 5 episodes. You can weave it through.
Nothing said anything about the length of the episodes, did it?
That's true.
It's probably
assume an hour.
Yeah, about-ish. Yeah,
okay.
That's what I think it's going to be. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of a Children of Earth vibe off it. I got to tell you, maybe not quite as dark in tone, and certainly not in the Torchwood realm of things, because I don't think Doctor Who would do that again. I don't think they'd sort of pitch things to different levels. I think it's going to be sort of pitched at the same kind of level. Maybe less musical episodes.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool if it's like a Cold War thriller kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
That'd be neat. You know, I have no idea. I'm just saying what I'd like to see. But.
Yeah, like Secret Invasion, except not bad.
Except no AI titles.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We have over a year to wait for this, so we can continue to speculate, or we can move on.
And I wonder what we're gonna get for a drop schedule. Like, are they going to do 2 and then 1-1-1?
I think
5 at once.
I hope it's not 5 at once.
5 across 5 weeks.
I think it's 5 across 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I don't think if it's a 5-part story. I mean, mind you, for Echo it was 5 parts as well. That Marvel series,
they dropped it all.
I think they kind of just said this.
Never watched it.
Let's just bury it. Let's just drop it all at once and get it over.
I've heard it was all right, but I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah, they sort of says, "Oh no, you don't need to know anything. It's part of this new Marvel Amnesia run where you don't have to know any of the other stuff to enjoy
I just want the Marvel logo and it says Amnesia underneath it."
No, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that's what I hope they don't. I hope they don't just because I hate binging things and for podcast purposes it sucks. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, we just recently had the 15th anniversary of Children of Earth. I think maybe we missed an opportunity to revisit it.
Oh,
given when we first covered it, it had run over 5 days, and
yeah, I know
it was a bit of a hodgepodge.
We haven't missed anything. We can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in that.
There's no arbitrary dates.
No, but I mean, we also like to tie things into things.
Yeah.
Well, you like to tie things into things, Chris.
Well, Steven does.
I do, but
you're both freaks.
I'm all for that. So.
Listen, well, I will say that I did have it on the calendar for a while, and then I said, you know what? No, given where I think this is probably going to air, the War Between the Land and the Sea, let's punt on the Children of Earth recap. And it's on the planning schedule. It's been there for a while.
There you go.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
July, the 16th anniversary of Children of Earth. We'll probably review it in advance.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing I'd rather not wait till like the 20th anniversary.
No, we're not
kind of thing.
No,
so.
I think it's it would be an intriguing rewatch before the War Between the Land and the Sea. Whenever the release date is announced for that, I bet you we'll probably dive back into Children of Earth shortly before that. So stay tuned. Put that in your fan spreadsheet. Nobody has a fan spreadsheet out there.
What are you talking about?
Sometime.
Erica does or did.
Yeah, sometime. Well, not for future episodes. Sometime. Like, I even have it just so to peek behind the curtain, kids. I have even put in September of 2025, I remember doing this, review the War Between the Land and the Sea 1 through 3, 4, 5. So there you go. So September 7th, according to my list, is when War Between the Land and the Sea will be premiering. You heard it here first, based on my speculative planning spreadsheet into 2025.
Sure. Weirdo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also at San Diego Comic-Con. Remember, we're doing this Saturday morning, so we'll get a full report from Heather and Stacy very quickly. But they've been doing your basic panels. They talked with Variety a brief little bit, I think. talking about epic danger and epic growth, as well as growing danger. Oh, goodness. 2 types of danger, epic danger and growing danger, is going to be happening in season 22. Also mentioned, Belinda Chandra is the name of Verita Sethu's new companion. That was also mentioned on the panel. I think people on set reports had sort of had heard that people were yelling Belinda during the course of obviously named after Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Go's from 40 odd years ago, kids, if you don't know who the Go-Go's are. And so that was the thing that was also mentioned. Hey, you can get your own copy, your own sonic screwdriver now. 15th Doctor sonic screwdriver which honestly, I look at the pictures of it and it looks like the bottom of a futuristic running shoe.
My main takeaway from this was because Chris sent us little Instagram reels of people, and my takeaway is that I don't mind how it looks, but only Ncuti is able to wield it in a cool manner. Everybody else is like, it was very awkward how they were playing around with it. And I'm like, well, Ncuti can just, it looks really cool using it, and I don't know how many other people do, frankly.
I enjoyed the little snippet of the 3-year-old kid who was playing with it and then wouldn't give it back.
Good kid.
Yeah. Little thief.
But with that stuff from like the show floor and whatnot, there's moving parts and things come out and flip out, and there's some mechanical aspects to it. So, I mean, as long as it's durable.
Yeah,
that's my main hope.
Yeah, that's my main thing too.
It does look like that looks a little flimsy. Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, that's the challenge. How do you make this mass marketable and also durable enough to actually?
Yeah, my Tom Baker sonic screwdriver sell. They don't make them like they used to.
They don't make them like the
even though it was made a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it has like the little rubber top on it, so you can't break it off. Which is probably why they do it. Anyway, you can get your own copy at Comic-Con, or it's going to be available for wider release in September. I'm just gonna choose to wait. I don't need the Comic-Con exclusive. Just give me the thing when it's ready.
It says there's only 1,000 on sale at Comic-Con anyway, and I can see that selling out.
Yeah, probably will. Maybe it will already be sold out by the time this episode drops.
I would bet it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So there. Anyway, also now one last thing before we talk to Heather and Stacey about their weekend at Comic-Con. The Doctor Who Worlds of Wonder, where science meets fiction, is like a touring exhibit. It's been in Liverpool. It's in New Zealand now, I think. Edinburgh. It's been
in the past. Yeah.
A Blue Sky and previously Twitter friend called B Kitty, who I'm going to call out on the podcast. She went to the World of Wonder New Zealand, and she sent a picture saying, "This is for Freiburg," and it's a picture of Handles. Good old Handles.
Handles is there. Anyway, it is going to be coming to San Diego Comic-Con Museum for an entire year, March 14th through to March 15th of the next year, 25 to 26. So that's cool. So look at that. This almost sounds like, how crazy would it be for the next Gallifrey 1 trip to take a trip down to San Diego to see this thing? Not next year, obviously, but in 2026, towards the tail end of that. It's not that it's not that far away by the, and let me tell you, it was enough money to stay in a hotel in the vicinity of San Diego. Flying down to San Diego is also a nuisance from Edmonton too, but flying down to LA less so. So that's something that I might look into in 2026. So.
How long a drive is it?
It's like an hour and a half.
A couple hours.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's Alberta terms. There's also a train. There's also a train, but the Pacific Coast Highway is.
Well, that's less than a Calgary. Come on.
It is less than a Calgary.
It's like
more
of a
Red
Deer. Calgary.
More of a Red Deer, Warren.
Yeah.
To work
a bit more of a payoff than Red Deer, frankly. Just as we dive deep in Alberta Lower.
Yeah.
It's a gasoline alley for obscure Alberta.
Now that's going deep into Alberta Lower.
There you are. There is your Alberta
purple gas, just to really drive it home.
Yeah. Connection here on the podcast. So anyway, that's cool. That is neat. I'm intrigued to see what that would be, and maybe we'll sneak a peek before it closes in 2 years' time. So But hey, enough about our speculations about Comic-Con and stuff. After this very short break, I have a chat in the future with Heather and Stacy from this Free the Squee about the Doctor Who experience at San Diego Comic-Con. Well, it's been a few years since we did this, but we used to have Heather Berberet roam the streets of San Diego Comic-Con to give us a report of what went on that year, and I'm happy to say that the tradition continues now, but with an added bonus. Heather Berberet and Stacy Watnick of Free the Squee on the Incomparable Network are on the ground at San Diego Comic-Con after a very long day this Saturday here. How are you two doing?
We're tired.
I am so tired.
But I'm really happy to be back because there are many reasons, not the smallest of which is the world fell apart, but also Doctor Who hadn't been here for a long time. So there's reasons, and I'm really, really glad that I get to be back because there is so much to talk about. And now I have a partner.
Indeed, I am the partner. Hello. Thank you for welcoming me.
Absolutely. So, Stacy, how many, I don't know your history with San Diego Comic-Con. How many times have you been?
Well, can I say first? Sorry. Sweetie.
Go.
Stacy's my Comic-Con mother and my Doctor Who mother,
Okay.
actually.
All right.
Truth be told. So now go ahead, tell your story.
I want to tell that story. So I was trying to do the math. I've been coming with my kids. I think it's been 13 years, but I realized that I did several years before them. So I'm going to say it's upwards of 15.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I'm from the era where you walked to the convention center and just walked in. And you
Right.
used to print out tickets in the sales pavilion when you wanted to go the next year. You would just walk to the ticket booth and say, I'd like to return. And they would print it out, a piece of paper to take with you.
She's old.
I'm old, Stephen. That's what we're saying.
Right. Things have
And
changed,
this is my
what you're
10th
saying.
year.
Yeah,
Oh,
10th
things have
year
changed.
for you, Heather. Wow.
10th year for me, 15th for Stace.
Wow.
I know, right?
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, hopefully your combined enthusiasm will offset the combined exhaustion that you're probably both feeling right now.
Truthfully, that is the cause of the exhaustion, so it's perfect,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
am good with my no sleep and my ouchy feet.
Yeah, we just do this once a year.
Yes.
And then now that I am Stacy's Gallifrey 1 mother,
You are.
we have this other, like, it balances it out, right? Which I've said before. We have this crazy, ridiculous 150,000 person experience, and then we go and have the 3,000 person experience.
We do. We're like a con Ouroboros eating its tail over here, Stephen.
That sounds lovely. It's been a long
Okay.
day. It's been a long day. We've already recorded our most of this episode that you've heard, dear listener, before this. I've done nothing between that, but you two have been. So there's we'll start chronologically. We've already sort of discussed what went on and was revealed at the Hall H panel on the Friday with RTD, Gatwa,
Okay.
and Gibson. But what was the vibe? Doctor Who's first panel since what? Like Jodie Whittaker's first panel in 2018, I think it was, or something like that. So
Yeah.
what was the vibe like in the room and at the convention as a whole?
You know, it's an interesting con this year in general. Things feel different. I don't know if there's less people here or people are just managing the con different, but we've noticed that lines are easier and rooms are not as full. So I'm not sure what's happening, but there wasn't the same just like fireworks of energy in Hall H for any of the panels, actually. Doctor Who followed The Boys and Rings of Power, both of which are heavy hitters. So it's not that people were like, oh yeah, whatever, but it just feels a little flatter in Hall H,
Okay.
which was a bummer because I waited 7 hours in the sun
That is a long time.
to get my wristband to get in, but that's okay. But it was still really good. I think part of it was, as is often happens, their first year in Hall H. Ncuti and Millie were a little overwhelmed by the room.
Right.
Could you not be, to be fair?
Right? 7,000 people. It's a huge room. I don't think they can see anything up on that
No, I
stage.
agree. They're lit up, but we're dark as an audience unless
yeah,
they do
yeah.
the house lights.
But I think their troopers, they both looked hotter than heck. I mean, both of them were stunning, and they laughed, and I thought it was a really sweet and great panel, but not the same kind of freaking out of your mind energy for Jodie. But But that was only the first one. So things shift as we go along through the events. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think, you know what I think it is, Stephen? Honestly, there are people who are really they are the Squee-worthy fans, right? And there are subsets of them in each panel. And sometimes there's a whole room that's super energized like that, and sometimes it's a section.
Yeah.
Some of the panels I've been in, just sort of overall, have had a lot of energy. The Alien Romulus panel, for example, was really charged up and excited.
Interesting.
So I do think for the panel you were in, there were some people who were super, super excited.
Oh, there totally were. It's not that there
freaking
wasn't.
out.
I'm sorry. If I made it sound like the room was dead, that is absolutely not true. And we were competing, Whovians were competing with, Rings of Power and The Boys and then Walking Dead. So the room always fills up with all the different fandoms. So anyway, it was still a great panel. I do not mean to be critical. I think maybe just the Jodie panel was just a peak. Maybe it was just so exciting. I mean, had she done her universe the night before?
Oh, she might have.
I think she'd done it the night before, and then she had broken fandom apart, and then we had the next day. So I think it might be more a commentary on that panel with Jodie, maybe, than Ncuti and Millie.
Yeah, and also we've had a full season of them already. I feel
Exactly.
like we've been introduced to them. If this was there leading into the first Disney season, I think that there would have been a much more, much larger explosion, I would think.
That's right. I think that's a really good point, because that was the first time we saw Jodie.
Right.
We had not seen any of her yet, and didn't see any of her forever because, secrets. But yeah, that's right. That was her first, literally walking on stage.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that being said, the room loved them. There was so much laughter and so much cheering, and they clearly adore each other so much. It was super fun. I was really glad that I waited the 7 hours in the sun to get in.
Worth the heat stroke. That's perfect.
Yeah. And I live tweeted it, so all the things they said I put out already. So it's all out there, yeah.
Oh, amazing. I know. Yeah, no, I was monitoring the RFS account during that, and Kevin, Scribble Script, and you were basically the two people who I was just retweet for the whole thing. I had to calm down because I know that sometimes if you retweet too often on Twitter,
they block you.
They block you. So I had to sort of oh wait, I don't want to miss stuff. So I'll just let's gear down a little bit. But so thank you for your service.
Oh, my pleasure.
What I mean to say.
My pleasure. And I apologize for all the misspellings and the lack of clarity in my... I mean, there are times when I had to go back and change Doctor Who a million times.
Right.
I always write Doctor Who first before
But when you're typing on your Wii phone that fast because you're squeeing and you are so excited...
It's true.
That's what happens.
And it's what did they just say? Who was that person's name? Anyway. So, but it was great. I'm so glad they're here. They're clearly having a ball, and they were warmly welcomed.
Awesome. Also, that I saw a picture... that one or both of you took at the interactive little display, the little TARDIS set display where you can get photos and there's an automated camera going on.
It was me, I think, swishing my little moon goddess cosplay behind me.
Right.
Isn't it brilliant? I think I might have posted. If I haven't, I'll forward it to you. I got a clip of the camera that they're using to take it, which is automated movement. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It is really cool.
Yeah, they shared that on the official Instagram. I think they had a quick little video of it, so that's where I saw it from. I couldn't remember where I saw it, but that's where it was. I mean, the little set looks pretty neat as a photo op experience.
It is absolutely 100% the best they've done in the 10 years I've been here.
And I would say if you're looking for an excited energy, it's people waiting in the Wii line to take that, to have that done. Also, the people monitor, the actual cameraman, is so sweet. You come around and they'll show you how it looked, and then they're no, go back, and they're cueing people to make sure that they turn at the right time. They have a little sonic prop that you can use so that you can use it in the little video. It's really very sweet.
I'll have to say the BBC booth is killing it this year. First of all, it's just a Doctor Who booth. They're not sharing it with anybody else, probably because it's not BBC America anymore. And second, this is a revolution in conning.
Oh, yeah.
You order online and go pick it up. And it's seamless. It's worked perfectly. I don't know why they all don't do this, but it is the best purchasing experience I've ever had at the con.
I would agree.
They're killing it.
I would agree. Though I will tell you, I'm gonna call Heather out. Are you ready, Stephen?
Okay.
So Heather says to me, "Friend," in text, "could you pick my exclusives up or my stuff up at the at the booth.
Okay, we do be fair. These are from last-minute requests from friends. Just saying. Go ahead.
So I say sure, and I go to the booth, and you show them a little, a number from an email.
I haven't heard this story yet, by the way.
And they start bringing objects out. They bring out a Sonic and another Sonic. There's a stack of 4 Sonics. They're sliding around on the counter.
I didn't order 4 Sonics.
Well, you have 4 Sonics because there are 4 of them.
I have many Sonics,
there
apparently.
are 2 T-shirts. There's a pin set. There's a postcard set. There is a pile of stuff, Stephen, I'm telling you. There is so much stuff that I'm like, can I get a bag? And they say,
no.
Yeah. Oh, no, they say, yeah, but you have to buy it.
Right.
So I go to the little QR code. I order a bag, which is instantaneously filled.
Oh, friend, you love me so much.
And then I fill all the stuff to carry it out.
I did not know this. She really has not told me this till now.
Yeah.
See for the podcast.
See, I did not burden you with any requests. I said I'll wait the 3 months to get my own sonic screwdriver.
Okay, well, we're happy to oblige. I'm sending many things to Canada already, people.
Well,
and other places across the country. So.
Well, if it's already going to Canada, can I place a last minute? No, I don't need to place a last minute request.
Okay.
I'll be fine.
I don't know. Sounds like we might have extra Sonics, Stephen.
If you have an
I
extra,
think that might be true.
If you have an extra, I will take it. I can.
Okay,
I can
right.
wait. I can wait till September. I don't have any cabinets to put up until then. It's fine.
Okay. That actually, I have to say, was not our first Doctor Who thing here, though.
Oh, what was the first Doctor
Hall
Who
H
thing
panel.
then?
So they have an offsite that's this intergalactic friendship day, which is the Star Trek Doctor Who mashup.
Right.
And they have an offsite, and Thursday's a slower day here. And if you're gonna do an offsite, the best day to do it is Thursday because they still have all the swag that they're going to give out. So, because they often run out by Sunday. So we decided we were going to do the first thing was this offsite. So once again, if you follow us, I was there very early, all alone, making friendship bracelets on my little chair.
Oh.
It was very funny. The staff felt so bad for me; they brought me water. But
Wow.
but I wanted to make sure I did it, and I had anything else to do, and whatever, it's fine. So, and it was the best little museum of the most amazing props. There was handles and the blue letters 11 sent out, and the picture of Clara that 12 saw when he was in the dial thing, and there was one of the Vincent paintings.
Right.
And
oh my God, that made me cry.
Oh, it was so amazing. And then the marionettes from the Giggle, and then the costumes, so many costumes. And there was Picard's chair that was lost for 30 years and they found.
I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. They found it in storage somewhere. And it was, so I put a lot of pictures out, but that was really cool.
It really was.
It was really, really fun. And they had a TARDIS. We took pictures of that. And they had a captain's chair we could sit in. And our other friend was cosplaying as number 1 from Strange New Worlds. So we got some great shots of her in the chair. So it was a great offsite, and it really got us psyched for con. It felt like, yes, this is how we're going to begin.
It did.
And then we got friendship bracelets. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how we began.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then this morning, Saturday morning, as we record this, you were what, Heather? Did you both go, or was it just Heather who went to the Doctor Who, the official Doctor Who podcast panel, where the 3 Doctor Who guests, Davies, Gibson, Gatwa, were on with one of the hosts of the Doctor Who podcast, right?
Yes, it was just me, unfortunately, because it was an exclusive, so you had to bid in a lottery for it, and it's the first one I've ever gotten. But I got it, and there was only 300 people in the room,
nice.
So it was amazing. And what I didn't say about the offsite was that we got the 3 of us got taped by BBC for some of the social media promos because we were first in line. So we might end up there. But anyway, the podcast was so good, so intimate. The host was amazing. Let's look her up and put her in the show notes because I cannot remember her name now, but she was absolutely fabulous. And you'll hear it on the podcast. And they were much more relaxed. I think they'd settled into the craziness that is con. It was a much smaller room. These were true fans because they blew all of their points for a Saturday on this podcast. So... Right. I mean, not true. I don't mean to say true fans. These were people who, this is the one thing they wanted to do today.
Yeah.
And It's a very comfortable venue. We'd been in it before. It's at the library, so it's really small and it's very nice. And they came out and they were relaxed and they were just felt so comfortable. And I was probably, 8 feet from them.
Wow.
And they just laughed together and you could really feel the warmth they had between them even more starkly than when we were in Hall H. And I think I learned a lot about them this time. I mean, I was closer, so I could see facial expressions. And again, I think they were more relaxed. But, Ncuti's, I think, really a serious guy. He's playing this character of the Doctor, and he can be super flirty, but he takes this role very, very seriously. And you can just kind of feel the craftsman in him, the way he approaches it. And I think British actors often are that way because of how they're trained, but I don't know if that's true. But I was just really impressed by how deeply he's thinking about this role. I didn't realize Millie was 18 when she shot 73 yards, 18 years old.
Isn't that wild?
It's 18. I think she said like she had ended Coronation Day the day before and then shot 73 yards the next day. 18 years old.
Okay, she is younger than my youngest child.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was, I don't know, it was one of those special experiences. And then I got to ask the last question of the podcast. Yay! Total Squee moment, which was really fun. And I guess you'll have to listen to hear what I asked. Well, I don't even know if it'll make it. So in the final cut. But it was a great last question. I thought the room was like, oh, when I asked the question, so that's fun. That's all I can remember about the podcast, but everyone will get to listen to it. So I didn't do as much, I have to remember this because I knew it was going to go out and everyone was going to get to see it. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, how about the next? I'm just going to Doctor Who event, just skipping all over. I don't care about. There was a huge Star Trek panel where they announced stuff. As we record this, literally, I think Robert Downey Jr. is like on stage or something. Sure.
Oh, because Marvel's right now.
Because Marvel's right now.
I thought they were done already. Marvel's right now. Okay.
You are missing the Marvel panel right now for this. That's right. For to hang out. And outside at the quietest spot that you could find to talk to me about Doctor Who stuff. So once again, thank you for your sacrifice.
We have our priorities straight.
Yeah, we do. Don't worry about it. We gotcha.
Sure, you too. So there was a Star Trek Doctor Who crossover panel with Russell T Davies and Alex Kurtzman, he who runs Star Trek into the ground. Some might say. Some people being me, not a fan of modern Star Trek, but I won't let that sully your views of the panel. How was the panel with those two?
You know what? It was a great panel.
Good.
I'm so glad I dedicated my afternoon to making sure I was in there, which wasn't necessary, but that's fine. I'm not bitter at all that I missed the vampires in Silo. It's going to be fine. But I wasn't sure, and I really wanted to see it. And this was such an awesome panel. Mm-hmm. These two men who run these, beloved franchises just talked together like the two professionals they are. Aww. They talked about how much they love the other person's franchise, how both of these franchises had such deep influences on them as children growing up, how beloved it is for both of them, how much they would deeply desire crossover, and how much the fans need to start tweeting at Paramount and at the BBC that we demand a crossover event because they're down for it. And that's like the fourth time I've heard RTD this time around talk about wanting crossovers. He keeps saying that, children don't organize their fandoms by who owns the franchise. It's not like they don't play with Daleks and Borgs all together in the same game,
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really lovely to hear them talk. They talked a little bit about how they approached to writing, and you could tell they were learning from each other. Often they would say, oh, I've never thought of it that way, or that's a great idea. So I feel really privileged. I mean, of course, there was I don't know, how much does 6A hold? Like 800 people? 1,000 people? No, 800 people.
That's pretty big, actually. That's bigger than I was thinking. But
yeah. So it wasn't an intimate conversation, but it was a super lovely one. Really enjoyed being there. Yeah.
Were you at that one, Stacy, too? Or
I was not. I was with the vampires.
She stayed with the vampires. Yeah.
You have to cover. You have to spread. You have to split the party to cover all the bases.
You do.
Yeah.
Because we're here to talk about Who with you, but we do cover many other things on our
We
podcast.
bridge a fandom universe.
Yes.
Stephen.
That's true. That's true. You do. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Heather, I cut you off there.
That's okay. I have an exclusive, perhaps, to announce, which is that if any of you have gotten trapped in the Lower Decks game or the Doctor Who game, where it's basically hitting buttons endlessly by Eastside Games, they are doing a crossover event beginning August 1st.
Oh, wow.
Where Lower Decks is going to end up in the TARDIS and the Doctor is going to end up in Lower Decks.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's a limited time play beginning August 1st. So that'll be fun if you want to press some buttons about...
Button mashing game is fun.
Mashing, yeah.
We love a button masher.
Yeah, well, it's great to pass the time. Yeah. So that's, I think, the point of the panel. I think it was an Eastside promotion. But that's okay. It was really fun. We got a takeaway, which is what is going to be what looks like on the screen a very, very cool poster that's a mashup of Doctor Who and Star Trek. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, cool. Well, that's interesting. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you kept busy, Heather. I'm glad that Stacy also kept busy covering all the non-Who stuff. At your 15th San Diego Comic-Con. So at least your time wasn't totally wasted doing all this other non-Doctor Who stuff. But
well, and she got a lot of the ambience because I was out of the convention center most of this con, but you were here a lot more than I was.
I was on that floor. There is a lot of Doctor Who stuff on the floor, by the way. It's lanyards.
What do you mean by
art,
the floor? For those who don't know?
I am so sorry. The vast expanse of humanity that shuffles about. Vendors and professional booths, and the networks have booths down there, like we mentioned.
It's like
BBC.
10,000 square feet. Is it more than that? And it's all the vendors, yeah.
Yeah, and it's everything from like small press and people who are doing like Artists Alley, which is like small booths of people like actually vending their own art, which is wonderful. And you'll find Doctor Who content across all of those spaces. Posters or little drawings that people have done. So sometimes original art, sometimes prints. It's really wonderful. T-shirts, it's everywhere, actually.
And then the biggies, like, sorry, that was a chair scraping.
We really are here, listeners.
Titan is there with all their comics, and they've got the big collection of TARDISes and the collection of the Doctors, those pins they've been advertising, and and then the Doctor Who booth, and there's a lot of Doctor Who content, which is not always true. Sometimes, there was a year, was it last year? No, 2 years ago. Doctor Who wasn't even here. They didn't even have a Doctor Who booth. So there was very little Doctor Who. So there's a lot this year.
It's really everywhere. And that TARDIS booth where you can take that little video is large. It is a big space. So it's sort of a prominent space, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, that's good news for nervous Doctor Who fans who I think read that Deadline story that we kind of debunked last week on the podcast. And earlier on in this episode, we talked about how it looks like Disney's enthusiasm for Doctor Who is strong, I would say. Is that something you could probably take away from this convention?
Well, there's been a lot. I mean, this is a lot of Doctor Who, official Doctor Who content on the stages. So they're putting money in it. I mean...
Also, I think people are watching, I don't know if you've talked about this recently, but I think people are watching with their families. I think people who watched Classic Who are encouraging new people to watch. It's so accessible now. People aren't waiting for, time differences or things like that.
Right. You don't have to have a PhD in TV to find Doctor Who anymore.
Correct.
Right.
It's just there.
So, this is definitely a Doctor Who year at the con.
Which makes us very happy.
Very happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's been great that you both joined me for this, but tell us a little bit about Free to Squee, which is a relatively new podcast, and I know you don't you don't do it like you're smart and you don't do it weekly. So well done on that.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
You know what's ironic? I could imagine. But I don't know how I would fund that.
Yeah.
I would have to quit my day job.
That's right. We'd have to quit our day job.
Exactly. Tell me about the show. What's it like? What do you cover on it?
So Free the Squee is an intersection, I would say, between pop culture and fandom, queerness and psychology.
Oh, awesome.
So a lot of what we're talking about is sort of, sometimes we'll put a fandom on the couch. For example, we actually put Comic-Con on the couch as our first client.
And we'll continue to do so often.
We will. She's coming back for sure.
Right.
She definitely will need a session after this weekend.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And we just, Stacy and I have our Venn diagrams of fandoms have a good center space, but a lot of stuff that is different for each other. So we'll kind of talk about what we like and what we don't and why. But we also take a look at what process it fills in our lives and why different characters or storylines or fandoms, why they can be so important to us and how they reflect us. And mostly these are the conversations we were having anyway.
Honestly, yeah.
And for years I've been saying to Stacy, we really should record this. Podcasts are a thing. And then the time was right. And so you just really we're just recording things that we would be doing anyway.
That is true. And we cross so many fandoms. We across music, across books, web comics, all sorts of things we've talked about.
Whatever makes us happy, we talk about.
Whatever makes us squee.
I think we both feel pretty committed as psychologists and practicing therapists.
Correct.
That people feel too ambivalent about feeling joyful and expressing their joy in the world. And for both of us, doing that and embracing our nerdiness and our queerness and even our squeeing about psychology is super freeing. And so I think we just want to be able to celebrate with people what they love and to be out and proud about that. And so that's what we're about.
That was spot on. I could not have said that better.
Oh, thanks.
Jot it down for the copy or for maybe a ribbon at Gallifrey 1. In 2025. Where I hope to see one, if not both of you at that convention.
That's our plan.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, maybe we could chat again.
Yes.
Oh, that would be so fun. Let's do that.
We could put Gally on the couch.
We could put Gally on the couch. Are you going to wait?
That would be a long session.
Are you referring Gally to me if you are my Gally mom?
Oh, I could. Or we could do joint work.
We could do joint
Gally, like couples work. We could do couples with Gally.
Such a good
idea. This is Anyway, inside baseball.
Yeah, sounds perfect. Anyway, Heather and Stacy, have fun for the rest of the weekend at the convention. And thank you so much for giving us an update on San Diego Comic-Con.
Thank you for having us,
Yeah,
Stephen.
Thank you for having us.
Always love being on RFS.
Thank you, Heather. I assume and hope that we recorded that. Otherwise, there was a very awkward pause in this episode. But the report from this is the great thing when you have friends who go to Comic-Con already
and who live in San Diego to begin with,
and who live there. You don't actually need to go down at all. You just tell us about it. Is it fun? How long in the line did you have to wait? Because that would have been part of the thing. Although I'm not sure if the media waits in line. I don't know how it works.
Well, I mean, my
your one experience,
more than a little out of date, but you didn't wait in line. You just showed him your pass and got in, or you ran into a real jerk of a security guy who I actually on my dying laptop had to show him an email from Warner Brothers. No, I can get in here. Look at this email.
Right,
addressed to me. Here's my driver's license. Come on.
Yeah, well, because I thought the big thing was getting the media pass, and for the longest time that was a problem. And then I finally got one last year, but of course then nothing really happened. And all it takes is just do you want to renew your? Yeah, okay. It's available.
There you go.
I'll always seem to have one.
Once you're in, you're in. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I'm in. And the funny thing is that they says when you register for, you go, do you want to sign up for news releases and everything, and little me says, oh sure, why not? And let me tell you, kids, my inbox in the weeks leading up to Comic-Con, especially during, it's like several emails an hour telling me about
bad enough for
panels.
me, but for somebody like you who actively disdains almost everything that isn't from 1970 something,
right?
How can you put up with this?
Oh, I don't mind people telling me about stuff. I just oh, that's cool. For a while they said, oh, this is neat, let's say it. No, they were just delete just delete these things. But hey, I got things about Doctor Who this past week as well, so it wasn't all bad. So Anyway, that's Comic-Con for now. Anyway, we might have more to talk about next week if something happens after we record this, which, of course, as I mentioned, is on the Saturday. But first, business news. BBC, there's a commercial report that dips in sales and earnings amid market challenges, bling, 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 blah, 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 blah. But apparently Doctor Who is doing quite well. There you go.
Why can't Bloomberg and CNBC be reporting like that? Bling, 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 blah, blah, blah. Over to you, Jim Cramer.
Business. Numbers. It's pretty much how it works.
That's what it sounds like to me. So
yeah. Although, I mean, they did single out Doctor Who, saying it was doing quite well. The interesting thing to me is, and this makes me very happy, is that in the Variety, we've looked at the Variety version of this, and it says BBC Studios made strategic investments during the year, including the full acquisition of BritBox International, which has reported a 25% annual growth rate of BritBox, because of course in the UK BritBox is kind of no longer a thing, so it's only international. And I have to admit, I was like, we better tell people about BritBox, otherwise they're going to cancel the service because, but they don't have to because it's doing great. So
no, it's people like my parents who love all the mystery and the cozy mystery type stuff that it excels at.
Right. Yeah, and not enough old stuff. Although I will say they this past week, I got a notification. I rarely get notifications from BritBox, so obviously it was directly targeted towards me. It says, "Oh, we've added a new show called The Champions," and I looked at the thumbnail graphic and I thought, this is ITC. I have never seen a frame of this or heard of this, but I
know of it. Yeah,
like the look of their hair and everything, and so I threw it on there, and it's like this crazy like spy-fi show from 1968-69. It was the first episode. The opening title, pre-credit sequence, was set in China, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And then I noticed that. Basically, every single non-speaking actor in that will turn up in The Talons of Wing Chiang 7 years later.
So is it all on film? It's all on film. It smells like an all on film.
It's color. Yeah. Of the three leads, the only one I knew was William Gaunt, who would 15 years after that play Orsini in Revelation of the Daleks. Nice. But then the title comes up and says created by some guy, Monty somebody, not Monty Norman, who's what I thought, but he did the James Bond theme. Monty somebody and Dennis Spooner.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Second ever story editor of Doctor Who. So The Champions now on BritBox, 30 episodes, one season. Burt Kwok I spun right to the end of it because it was set in China, and it says who else is in this cast? So this is Burt Kwok was in it. Okay, so the one and only actor of Asian descent in the UK.
I just love the insane confidence of these shows. Like they just got this.
Oh, I know.
Real weird confidence that you don't get anymore, like for whatever reason. It's just the spirit of the 60s and spy movies and James Bond being super popular all infuses into these TV shows, and it's really weird.
It's why we went to the moon, Warren. It's why we went to the moon.
Even The Prisoners got a bit of that. It's just this weird thing you can't really replicate now.
Yep. Until that malaise, that crisis of confidence that struck us in the 1970s.
Exactly. Which is its own entertainment-wise interesting period, but yeah.
Little Jimmy Carter reference there for you. Anyway.
Malaise forever.
You got it. Anyway, this read the full report if you want business talk in Doctor.
And then read Project 2025 as a pick-me-up.
Don't do that. Watch The Champions on BritBox. Although we don't have to tell you to go to BritBox because apparently 25% of you who weren't there last year are there this year, so it'll be fine. I want more. I want more classic series, obviously, in BritBox though. So do that. Do your new cozy mysteries and your rainy dramas and stuff like that. But I want to see the Oneiden line on BritBox. I want to see
proper Poldark.
Proper Poldark. None of this sexy Poldark. I want unsexy Poldark on this.
They do
on
have
BritBox.
All Creatures Great and Small classic.
They do, which we started watching in the Never. we fought for that, Warren, and
that's the original cozy mystery.
Yeah,
the mystery being how the hell does he put up with all these idiots?
How the hell is that even a show? It's the coziest of shows. It's almost too cozy.
It was great though. Books are great too.
It was, All Creatures Great and Small. And, of course, The Sandbaggers, which is on there, which you should all watch because it is...
And Blake 7.
And Blake 7, too. Blake 7's on there.
And Red Dwarf. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
This episode of Ready for Skaro brought to you by BritBox.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. What else is happening? Ireland! We haven't forgot about you, Ireland. At long last, on the RTE player in Ireland, Doctor Who season 1 is available. Ireland, of course, is the little dead space in the Doctor Who universe.
Wow.
Because you couldn't get Disney Plus Doctor Who because you're technically within the sort of the broadcast region of the BBC, and you couldn't get the BBC because you're not part of England, and so the people of Ireland could not get legally Doctor Who until now. It's on RTE Player right now, so you can watch it. Spoilers for the past year of talking about new Doctor Who. So sorry for spoiling that for you if you haven't watched it yet in Ireland, but now you can properly and legally in Ireland. So well done. Go Ireland.
Yay, Ireland.
Yay, Ireland. A couple of Doctor Who soundtrack stuff happening. This is cool. On September 13th, the Doctor Who, the Daleks in Color original TV soundtrack. Of course, it's mostly Tristram Carey's original, but Mark Ayres has added some elements to it, of course, to tie in with the Daleks in Color 75-minute version. Well, they're putting up the soundtrack. Not only the soundtrack, but also some of the additional extras and stuff, which is only available on CD. Dagnabbit.
Well.
I know. I might have to get the CD version of this now. I did look on iTunes, and it's not available for pre-order yet there, but it is available for pre-order elsewhere. So, yeah, cool. Music by Tristram Carey and Mark Ayres. Daleks in Color. That's coming September 13th. If you're a fan of the vinyl releases of the missing episode soundtracks and stuff, well, we got good news for you. The Crusade is coming. I saw somewhere it's coming October 4th, but the date isn't on the link that we've posted in the... I don't know where I heard it was October 4th, but so take that with a grain of salt. But it looks pretty. The artwork's always pretty. What is that, green and yellow? What are those colors of those two vinyl albums? Help me out here, the colorblind
I'd have to click on the
person.
link, Chris.
To help. I have to click on the link.
It's green.
It's green. All right, just like that.
Oh no, that's Zygon Century. Pardon me, wrong link.
The color of monsters.
Is the color monsters, or it's the color of the summer, apparently, according to Charlie XCX. But
I may have. Kamala is Brad, after all.
Brad.
I promise never to say it again.
Thank you.
I'm kind of surprised you're not a vinyl guy, Stephen. You strike me as the Venn diagram of such a man.
Well, I don't. It takes up space. I do have
that's Lego space. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't play music in the home as much because I don't want to say, hey Erica, I know you're working all that. I'm just gonna blast side 1 of album 1 of Physical Graffiti while you're working. Is that okay? I got it on vinyl here because literally that's all I have. I do have all the Led Zeppelin albums on vinyl when I was a vinyl kid in college. On college radio, I was the person who played records.
And it was much more rare then.
It was. I know. I'm amazed that I found all the Zeppelin records on record stores because records were really not a thing at that in the mid 90s.
Cassettes or CDs, and you were pretty much hooped otherwise.
Exactly, but I did manage to grab all of the Zeppelin records on vinyl. That's all I have. All right. That's literally my only collection. So
since you've fulfilled your mandate, I think on
there
this
you
one.
are, and I did it like 25 years ago. So and yeah, so like where would I display it? Where would I display these records? I don't have a space for them. They look great. They are fantastic to look at and probably to listen to as well. But anyway, that's coming out. Crusade vinyl, October 4th, probably. History of Sputnik anniversary. What else we got here? Some Big Finish stuff. The First Doctor Adventures of the Living Darkness is coming out June 2025. Peter Purvis returns to Big Finish. Brand new audio drama with Stephen Noonan, of course, as the First Doctor. So that's coming in January. What else we got? Zygon. So there's a whole Zygon spinoff. We talked about like there being the war between the land and the sea. Well, this is Zygon Century. Brand new range. Full cast audio dramas about Zygons. That's also starting in January 2025.
I mean, you can shapeshift to anything on audio, so why the hell not?
You can, and there's 3 different stories set in different years: 1901, 1935, and 1957. So it's not like a direct sequel or something to the Zygon invasion and version from the Peter Capaldi years either. So it's brand new things coming. So that's pretty cool from Big Finish. I should also mention that Annette Ballin's been added to the guest list at Long Island Who. Our friend Ken Deep, of course, runs that. That's happening August 23rd to 25th, way out there in Holtzville, Long Island, which is a really long island if you've ever been. It's very aptly named. If you've ever taken the drive from the JFK or even LaGuardia,
or even the train.
Or even the train.
Penn Station.
It will take you 1.5 Earth days to get there, but it'll be a fun time.
It's a beautiful location full of people who voted for Trump.
It really, I know. I only went there, twice? I can't remember now. When it was in November, and it was like, this is cold, but it's in August now, so it's kind of nice. So if you're in the New York area, Long Island too, whole host of guests there. Annette Badland joins Colin Baker, Nicolette Bryant, Mark Strickson, Fraser Hines, Gigi So, Colin Spall, Jacqueline King, Daphne Ashbrook, Mickey Lewis, Terry Malloy, Dominic Lynn's going to be there too. Cool. Jason Hay Gallery, Jonathan Watson, Nev Fountain. Oh my God, Blair Shed, John Peel as well. So all that happening August 23rd to 25th. In Long Island for Long Island 2. And finally, to wrap up, the voice of Alpha Centauri in 2 Doctor Who episodes in the 1970s and Empress of Mars way back in 2015 or whatever it was. It is Dan Churchman, has died at the age of 99. How about that?
That's a good run. That's a really good run.
Hell of a run. Yeah. She was. I like that they still remember her from the Archers, the longest running radio play on the BBC.
Well, I think it's pretty beloved over in England. Isn't it?
It is, but her character was killed in a stable fire in 1955. But her death, listened to by more than 20 million people, overshadowed the launch of ITV and became the talk of the nation. That is a thing. Thousands of distraught listeners jammed the BBC switchboard for 48 hours, and even more people have entered the grief and newspaper legend. This is from the BBC story about it. That is a different time, but so cool. I think she did a voice of one of the spiders too in Planet of the Spiders. I could be wrong about that, but
I think you're right about that. Yeah,
yeah. Having done the commentary on it recently, so yeah, 99 years though. Hell of a run. And of course, it was. The ultimate of fan service was hearing her voice at the tail end of Empress of Mars.
Empress of Mars.
Criticize Mark Gatiss, though we often do.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. 2017 it was. So.
Yep.
So there we go. That's an episode. That's a whole episode of this podcast, kids, covering all the stuff that happened to Doctor Who this week. If there's anything else that happened in Comic-Con, we'll touch on it next week. But yeah, hope you enjoyed all that. To sum up, Doctor Who's still doing well. New spin-off announced. Joy to the World clip teased. Snow is falling. France is for now pretty awesome. And
did we mention that earlier that they had an indoor snowfall at the Doctor
We did
Who
a
panel?
tiny little
yes.
bit. I think it was on the screen a little bit, on the side. So. So there you go. That's it. That's it for this week. Next week, more of the same. I don't know what's going to be next week. So it's probably something about Doctor Who, or we'll squeeze in.
You think?
We'll squeeze in something about travel distances and Alberta road trips, just for you. So until next time, I'm Stephen in Edmonton.
More in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.